Work. So download the app today. It's free. Spread the news. St. Lucia is now in HD around the world on the Hot FM app. Don't miss out. Join the fun and stay connected.
Here's your guide to installing Hot 7's digital antenna.
Please note that all TV sets manufactured today have a digital tuner. TV sets manufactured before the year 2005 may not have a built-in digital tuner, and you may not be able to receive our free-to-air digital transmission on Channel 7 to receive our free over-the-air digital HD TV service. Number 1. Plug your antenna into your TV set's RF input jack labeled antenna or cable in. Number 2. You will now have to scan for the digital channel. Please note that all digital TVs are different in terms of scanning procedures. The following is a general guide, but the steps or the terminology may be different for your device. Press the menu button on your TV remote. Go to Setup or Settings. Go to Installation or System or Channels. Go to Scan Channels, Program Channels, Auto Scan, Auto Program, or Auto Tuning. Press Select or Enter or OK to start the scan. When the device says scanning is complete, accept the channels found and close the menus.
St. Lucia, Hot 7 TV was the first to bring you a full HD newscast. Now, here's another first. The Hot 7 Nightly News is now your first newscast for the evening in St. Lucia. You heard right. The Hot 7 Nightly News is now at 7:15. Yes, tune in at 6:45 p.m. and be the first to catch the latest happenings in your world. On the run, watch us on your cell phone or tablet via the Caribbean Hot FM app. Trusted objective journalism from our diligent news team. Get it fresh. Get it hot. The Hot 7 Nightly News, now at 7:15. Watch us on Channel 117 on Flow, Channel 7 Plug and Play, or follow us on Facebook Live on Caribbean Hot 7 TV.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News.
Good evening. It is Thursday, January 1st, 2025. I am Daniela Edwin, and welcome to a very special edition of the Hot 7 TV Nightly News, our year in focus. We are coming to you on Flow Channel 117, Kiss FM, the Caribbean Hot FM mobile app, the Caribbean Hot 7 TV Facebook page, our YouTube channel, Caribbean Hot 7 TV, and to everyone tuning in via the Hot 7 Plug and Play antenna. Thank you for joining us. Tonight, we look back at the first half of 2025, a period defined by tragedy and resilience, political maneuvering, economic recalibration, and stories of ordinary St. Lucians navigating extraordinary moments. We begin where the year itself began, with a sobering reminder of life's fragility. The year opened under a dark cloud as violence from 2024 spilled into the first hours of 2025. An altercation on New Year's Day left one man seriously injured and another in police custody, setting an ominous tone for the year ahead.
At approximately 3:40 p.m. on January 1st, 2025, a violent dispute erupted along Victoria Street in Dennery. The incident left a 35-year-old male resident of Anscannot with lacerations to his torso. The injuries, while not life-threatening, required immediate medical attention, and the victim was swiftly transported to the St. Jude Hospital for treatment. Police were quick to act, with officers from the Dennery police station arresting the male suspect shortly after the altercation.
Personal safety quickly became a national concern after a woman's early morning walk turned into a fight for survival.
A woman is counting her blessings after surviving a violent attack in Sarat on the morning of January 1st, 2025. The victim was physically assaulted by an unknown assailant who snuck up behind her and pushed her down a precipice. In a brave and desperate struggle for survival, she screamed her lungs out, which drew the attention of nearby neighbors. The survivor, still reeling from the ordeal, shared more information about what transpired.
I usually go walking because I like to incorporate some exercise into my daily routine. Because of my work schedule, I normally go on a weekend, but as it was the holiday, I decided I was going to go for the 2 holidays and then go to work today and then get back to my regular routine, which is Saturday and Sunday. But for some reason, miss, I left home at 10 to 6 that morning, the latest that I've ever left home to go walking. And then maybe about, I would say, 10 minutes into the walk, I'm not too sure if the assailant followed me. I'm not too sure if he was hiding around the corner. I never felt any shadow. I never felt any presence. I never heard any footsteps. I did not have any AirPods. I never go walking with my phone. All I knew is that I was pushed from behind. I went over the wall into the precipice, and I saw the assailant coming down towards me and I started screaming. I just went into survival mode.
Her experience sparked wider conversations on vigilance and preparedness as experts stressed the importance of self-defense in uncertain times.
The victim's screams alerted a nearby retired police officer who responded by firing warning shots, causing the assailant to flee the scene. In light of this incident, Alan Giffard, a representative of the Golden Phoenix Martial Arts Academy, emphasized the importance of self-defense training. According to Giffard, such classes equipped individuals with the skills needed to handle unexpected situations.
When you learn self-defense, you learn body dynamics, you learn how to be aware of things before it happens. These are the things that you learn. You before the thing happens, you're supposed to already sense it. If it is a surprise, then that's where your training comes in. Body dynamics, you could handle yourself. Like that push she had there, most likely if she was trained, her body dynamics, most likely she might have diverted from the assault or something. Should have done something, but not going down to that precipice.
Amid growing fear, there were moments that restored faith, including an example of compassionate policing that resonated with communities island-wide.
One of my philosophies as a police officer, and which should be that of every police officer, is never tell anyone who comes to your station for assistance that you cannot assist, especially when the matter is of a civil nature. Any individual who comes to the station for assistance sees the police officer as a beacon of hope. Indicating that you cannot render assistance can be detrimental, and this can foster a lack of confidence in the police. In situations where, as the police officer, recognize that the report is of a civil nature, the first course of action is to offer a genuine listening ear. Request clarity, if necessary, after which you will indicate how you intend to proceed or the best course of action.
As the second academic term began, attention briefly shifted to stability and routine, with students returning to classrooms across the island.
Today, Monday, is the first day of school, of the girls returning back to school for the academic year of 2024-2025. And we had a grand assembly outside to welcome them in. And all girls were at school, well, most I should say, and looking all bright and ready for the second term.
That sense of normalcy was short-lived as tragedy struck again with the island's first road fatality just days into the new year.
Tell me what happened. Tell me what happened. Just tell me what happened here, sir. I don't think I go to jail now, sir. Tell me what happened.
I know that white man. I shot that man. That white man.
That white man? Yes, sir. We want to reveal like yes, sir. Photo.
Videos also captured the severity of the impact as the vehicle aboard which the deceased, identified as 28-year-old Ivan Kinnell Lucian of Chapel Street, Grosley, was traveling, remained edged off the highway, seriously crushed. The driver of the blue van is said to be the owner of tow company Carnival Sailing, who also sustained undisclosed injuries. According to Colin Vidal of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, injuries ranged from lacerations and fractures to broken bones.
The collision involved two motor vehicles, both of which incurred significant damage. A total of 6 occupants were identified, some of whom sustained serious injuries in the collision.
January also provided space to reflect on legacy and culture, as the nation paid tribute to one of its most celebrated calypsonians, Herman de Ashanti Hippolyte, an icon of St. Lucian calypso, who was honored during a brief yet poignant ceremony at the Cultural Development Foundation. The event recognized his decades-long contribution to St. Lucian music and culture. However, crime continued to dominate national attention, with St. Lucia recording its first homicide for 2025 in Botany.
The police has since identified the victim as 22-year-old Gabriel Jr. Henry, a resident of Botany. Henry's mother, who was still in a state of shock, recounted the last moment she spent with her son. She noted that he had returned from work and she prepared dinner for him. Afterwards, she went to rest and was awakened by the sound of gunfire.
When I wake up, when I check the time, I see 9 o'clock. And I didn't hear nobody, so I come there. I say, let me go and lock the door. When I wake up, time I wake up on the bed, sit down on the bed for me to get up, I had pow! I say, Boudier! And I sit down back on the bed. Then I get up, when I come, I see him lie down there. I wipe open, so I shake him, I say, Junior, Junior! I say, Junior died already. I say, who that shoot Junior there? They shoot Junior there. He died already. Then I start screaming. When I start screaming, people around hear me, they come down. Time you see a lot of people come there. So I asked them to call police.
What followed was a violent stretch of days as first responders dealt with multiple stabbings, shootings, and traffic incidents. As the death toll rose, opposition voices weighed in, linking the crime surge to deeper concerns within the justice system.
I am hoping for the sake of all of us in St. Lucia. I don't want to win elections because government did a bad job in crime management, Because when we win elections, we can't bring back none of the people who have died, And we cannot free those who are in prison who have committed the murders. So the only solution to that problem is whichever government is in office needs to get a handle on the crime situation.
Police investigations intensified after another deadly shooting, this time in Mark Bexar.
At approximately 11 p.m., officers of the Criminal Investigations Department Castries and the Central Police Station responded to reports of a shooting at Mark Bexar. Upon arrival at the scene, officers encountered 2 individuals who appeared to have sustained injuries. The first individual, identified as 22-year-old Iman Emmanuel of Mark Bexar, was found unresponsive and lying on the side of the road. He has sustained multiple injuries. He was pronounced dead at the scene by a medical practitioner, and a post-mortem examination will subsequently be conducted to determine the exact cause of death.
The second victim, believed to be the partner of the deceased, was found nearby with injuries.
Days later, yet another community was shaken by gun violence as Soufrière recorded the island's 3rd homicide for the year.
The serenity of Lenny's Hill was shattered around 7:30 p.m. on January 19, 2025, when 27-year-old Hank Monrose of Palmis Soufrière was fatally shot. According to ASP Curtis Roberts of the Southern Division, the victim succumbed whilst at the Soufrière hospital.
Preliminary inquiries revealed that the male sustained injuries as a result of a gunshot. His victim was conveyed to Soufrière Hospital by private means where he sought medical treatment. The victim later succumbed to his injuries and was declared deceased by a medical practitioner at the institution.
Gun violence persisted into late January with further shootings reported in Babonneau. On one particularly violent day, 2 separate shooting incidents left 3 men injured, heightening public concern. Questions also emerged surrounding an officer-involved shooting in Castries, as families sought clarity and accountability. Violence extended into the heart of the capital, with police probing a stabbing near the Castries market. In response to the surge in violence, law enforcement moved to increase visibility and enforcement across communities. Special focus was placed on schools and surrounding communities as police worked to deter lower-level crime and protect students. Targeted operations were also launched in high-risk areas as police sought to re-establish law and order. Road safety remained a priority, with intensified traffic enforcement yielding arrests and seizures. Several major investigations also progressed, including updates in drug trafficking cases that drew national attention. As crime dominated the headlines, political tensions escalated, with the opposition leader formally appealing to the Prime Minister for action.
I've recently written to the Prime Minister indicating that the latest transgression by Mr. Frederick on his TV show, where he publicly named people and instructed the police to arrest them, are threats that must be taken seriously, as Mr. Frederick is a minister in Mr. Pierre's office. Mr. Pierre is responsible for national security. It is also reminiscent of the same allegations made about Frederick's involvement in Operation Restore Confidence, where the DPP stated that there was sufficient evidence of extrajudicial killings to proceed with the prosecution. I've clarified to the Prime Minister that this behavior is a risk to the St. Lucian public and can no longer be tolerated.
January also brought moments of remembrance and advocacy, honoring cultural giants and amplifying calls to end gender-based violence.
In January 2021, the decomposing body of a female was discovered at Pigeon Point. 3 months later, in April, police confirmed through DNA testing that the body was that of 22-year-old Stephanie Thomas. This year, on January 24th, the 4th anniversary of her brutal killing, Thomas's friend Ella Prosper held a march in her honor. Escorted by police officers, Prosper carried a placard that read, quote, "Love us, please. Stop killing us. Stephanie Thomas is a memory, but I'm her voice. Stop the killing," end quote. Prosper expressed her commitment to standing against gender-based violence and pledged to continue celebrating Thomas on the anniversary of her death and her birthday.
Who was Stephanie Thomas to me? She was a sister, a friend, boy, a dancing partner, or all kind of partner to me. Now she's just a memory to me. So this is why I try to make this day and her birthday special. Her birthday will be March the 13th, and I will be lighting a candle or even buying a cake and walking for.
The month concluded with reflections on history, legacy, and the urgent need for balanced approaches to crime prevention. February opened with shock and outrage as a violent attack carried over from the final hours of January left an entire community reeling. A brutal assault in Industrie Choiseul sent 4 members of the same family, including a toddler and an elderly man, rushing to hospital after they were allegedly attacked by someone known to them. Days later, law enforcement provided a critical update as justice appeared to move forward in the disturbing Choiseul chopping case. Police confirmed that 2 suspects were charged with multiple counts of attempted murder and remanded, bringing a measure of relief to a family and community demanding answers. Even as violence dominated headlines, February also brought key developments in governance and public administration. The health sector saw a leadership shift as government advanced plans to strengthen hospital services and complete long-delayed infrastructure.
Former Cabinet Secretary Benjamin Emmanuel has been appointed chair of the new Millennium Heights Medical Complex Board. The announcement was made by Health Minister Honorable Moses Jean-Baptiste, who expressed full confidence in Emmanuel's ability to lead the board and drive improvements in healthcare services across St. Lucia.
I welcome Mr. Ben Emmanuel, a gentleman of immense experience in the public service, and recently the Cabinet Secretary. I also say to you that the Cabinet has full confidence in the abilities of Mr. Ben Emmanuel to chart the course of the future of the Millennium Heights Medical Complex.
Alongside healthcare reform, authorities turned attention to institutional accountability, moving to address sexual harassment within the protective services.
We're going to look at developing a complaints policy so that people who have issues can actually have something, somewhere to go to and be listened to and action taken. And then following that, we will probably do some training around gender sensitivity and helping people understand what the complaint procedures is about and how it works.
On the political front, the opposition sharpened its focus on governance and ethics, unveiling potential candidates while criticizing the direction of the current administration. Economic policy also came under scrutiny, particularly surrounding major national assets. The opposition challenged the government's 30-year port lease agreement, calling it a bad deal that could cost St. Lucia millions in lost revenue.
Global Ports Holdings signed a 30-year lease agreement with the government of St. Lucia for an expected $135 million investment in port redevelopment. However, the deal has drawn sharp criticism from the opposition, who argue that it is detrimental to the island's economy. Under the agreement, GPH will receive revenue from both Port Castries and the Soufrière waterfront for the next 30 to 40 years. In return, St. Lucia will receive $1 per cruise ship passenger, a drop from the previous $6.50. Given the island's active cruise season, this deal has resulted in GPH receiving substantial funds. Critics, including the public relations officer of the United Workers' Party, claim that St. Lucia is losing crucial revenue that could have been used by the St. Lucia Air and Seaports Authority for the management of these ports. He added that despite the government of St. Lucia being at a disadvantage in this deal, it still bears some of the responsibility for maintaining the ports.
We need an explanation, and I want to call on St. Lucians to recognize what is taking place, recognize what is happening. Our resources in terms of our national assets, our passport, our ports are being squandered, are being given away. And we are getting little to nothing. And when I talk about getting little to nothing, in the case of GPH, January 2025 marked the commencement of a new regime in terms of the fees that are charged to the cruise ships coming in, where the charges have moved from $6.50 to $12.50 per head.
Crime, however, remained the dominant concern throughout the month, with multiple homicides and violent incidents leaving families devastated. National grief deepened following the killing of 27-year-old Alana Bernard, a young mother gunned down while returning from work. Her family publicly questioned whether her death was linked to an ongoing legal matter.
According to reports, a black Suzuki Swift followed Bernard, turned into a nearby entryway, and then drove back in her direction. The shooter allegedly attempted to fire, but the gun jammed. The assailant then proceeded to shoot her 4 times before driving off.
Well, my daughter called me and tell me go and pick up her son in the daycare for her. She come from work early. Then she was on her way home when a vehicle followed her. Turned right there, in the gap there, come down, there was wearing mask, and shot her right there. They shot her right there. So when I come and pick up the son, when I come in there, I see ambulance, traffic. When I reach a little higher up, I see my daughter lying down, lying down there.
Just days later, another family tragedy unfolded as an 18-year-old lost his life during a violent confrontation with his own brother. Shock spread further with the fatal stabbing of a well-known TikTok content creator, Jolie Williams, once again raising concerns about violence among acquaintances. In Olio, a family mourned the brutal killing of 66-year-old Augustus Ford, allegedly at the hands of his brother, as calls for swift justice echoed through the community. Gun violence continued into the latter part of the month, with a late-night shooting in White Rock claiming the life of a 25-year-old man. On the social end, public frustration over crime spilled into protest, with a lone demonstrator outside Parliament demanding stronger action on violence against women.
The area outside Parliament was anything but quiet on February 25, 2025, as activist Alison Georges took to the streets demanding that female members of Parliament break their silence on violence against women. This stance was taken in light of the recent homicides of 20-year-old Jolie Williams and 27-year-old Alana Bernard. Holding a sign that read, quote, "Two young women brutally murdered, yet the women in Parliament remain mute," end quote, Georges voiced her frustration over what she perceives as a lack of response from those expected to champion the cause.
I am standing on what is taking place in St. Lucia there. We have our young ladies that are being brutally murdered, and the government of St. Lucia is not doing anything. We have women in Parliament and not a word from them. And our young ladies are leaving this place. Nobody cares. Nobody's saying nothing. Everybody lips are tied. I want to know why.
As police worked to stem the violence, the force itself came under scrutiny. Authorities confirmed the arrest of a serving police officer during an investigation into a missing M16 rifle, sending a clear message about accountability within the ranks. Concerns deepened when it was revealed that another firearm had gone missing, even as intensified crime-fighting efforts were underway. Later in the month, police confirmed a major breakthrough, announcing the recovery of the stolen M16 rifle and recommitting to transparency and public trust. The blame game over crime, however, continued, with both government and opposition accusing each other of politicizing national security.
The St. Lucia Labour Party has repeatedly called on the opposition to be mindful of their statements in the wake of violent crimes, emphasizing that crime is nothing to celebrate. Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre has also condemned the politicization of crime, urging those responsible to stop. Ahead of Parliament on February 25, 2025, opposition leader Alan Chasney responded to accusations that the United Workers' Party is using crime as a political tool. He denied the claims, stating that the opposition is simply shedding light on the situation and demanding change.
Every time a government doesn't have an answer to a problem, it chooses to try to blame it on somebody else. I would love them to give any examples of where we're politicizing it. What we're putting pressure on is that they come up with a solution.
To add an inspiring end to the month, art and community transformation took center stage on George Charles Boulevard, where a striking mural became a symbol of pride and possibility.
Well, the project behind me was fully based on uplifting my area, because we've been through a lot. We have been passing deaths over and over and over. So I just felt like the walls were depleted and stuff like that. So to me, I feel like to express myself and to make the area a bit more nice and uplifting for the people in the community. So I decided to just do free paintings. I want to thank my parliamentary rep, Mr. Philip J. Pierre, for providing me the resources so I could just do my work.
March began on a somber note as the country once again confronted the deadly consequences of road traffic incidents. Authorities confirmed another road fatality following a vehicular accident in VG Castries, underscoring ongoing concerns about road safety and driver behavior.
39-year-old Sam Emmanuel of Hospital Road, Castries, has succumbed to injuries after the silver motor vehicle he was aboard collided with a tree along Nelson Mandela Drive, Vigi, Castries. The incident, which claimed his life and left another injured, occurred on March 2, 2025, about 8:20 p.m. Officers proceeded to the scene where they observed the vehicle embedded in a tree with 2 male occupants. The vehicle had sustained extensive damage during the collision. Personnel from the St. Lucia Fire Service responded to the incident, attended to the occupants, and conveyed them to the Owen King European Union Hospital, OKEU.
As national attention turned from tragedy to politics, opposition forces signaled increased readiness ahead of future elections. The United Workers' Party unveiled a slate of 13 proposed motions outlining policy solutions to what it describes as pressing socio-economic challenges under the current administration.
These resolutions reflect our commitment to improving the lives of St. Lucians, strengthening key sectors, and creating opportunities for our people. National health insurance for all. I am saying in Patois, Nuka bay national health insurance pour tout gens Saint-Lucie, les flambeaux en pouvoir. A UWP government will continue where we left off in 2021 and implement a national health insurance NHI system to ensure that every St. Lucian has access to quality and affordable health care.
Other motions span perceived priority areas such as housing, transport, passports, beaches, unemployment benefits, and youth volunteer programs.
Public advocacy also took center stage as civil society groups renewed calls for action on social justice issues. A silent demonstration outside Parliament highlighted the continued scourge of gender-based violence, with organizers urging stronger enforcement of laws meant to protect women and girls.
We decided to take a sort of a different twist to the celebrations, and in the middle of the celebrations to actually say that we know that there are cases of gender-based violence that are ongoing, and of course the recent murders that we have had with the passing of Alana and Jolie and what happened in Choiseul and the consequent death of the father of the woman who was involved in that. So we wanted to pay homage to these people and to actually just make a statement by standing in silence to say that we stand in solidarity with that and that we believe that as a country there should be zero tolerance of violence.
Attention shifted to long overdue infrastructure improvements in underserved communities. After years of disuse and deterioration, the Aslavedi sub-fire station was poised for major renovations, signaling renewed commitment to emergency preparedness in the area. Economic development and urban renewal featured prominently as government delivered on key projects. Major upgrades to the Castries market and Point Seraphin fisheries were officially unveiled, promising cleaner, modernized facilities for vendors, farmers, and fishers. International developments soon raised questions about St. Lucia's global standing. Government officials sought clarification after reports suggested the island could be affected by proposed U.S. travel restrictions under the Trump administration.
There has not been any official correspondence from the U.S. government indicating to us we have 60 days to do anything, otherwise face certain sanctions. I imagine the Minister of Foreign Affairs will also be here to address you, and he will reiterate this thing. We've not received any communications in that regard. However, the pursuit by the opposition in the way that they continuously put out misinformation is a very dangerous precedent.
Back on the domestic crime front, police announced a major breakthrough in narcotics enforcement. An intelligence-driven operation led to the seizure of cocaine valued at over 1.4 million EC dollars, reinforcing efforts to disrupt organized criminal networks. This would soon become a disturbing trend throughout the year, with several arrests and large sums of cannabis and other illicit drugs being seized on the island's ports. Fiscal policy dominated headlines as the government set the stage For a landmark parliamentary presentation, Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre announced plans to present the largest national budget in St. Lucia's history, pointing to economic expansion and increased fiscal activity.
And I'm very excited to present it to the people of St. Lucia. The budget will show the level of fiscal prudence and growth in the economy. It will show that we are running surpluses, some serious surpluses that are necessary for the continuation of the economic development of St. Lucia. I'm very excited to present it tomorrow. But as you know, tomorrow is just going to be about figures, basically figures. But really where the government's policy comes out, how the government will guide the country for the next year will come at the passing or the reading of the appropriation bill, which will happen the last Tuesday of April.
That budget promise soon became reality as during the debate, Pierre outlined what he described as a reversal of economic decline inherited from the previous government.
I'm particularly pleased in presenting this year's estimates of revenue and expenditure, the fourth presented by me as the Minister of Finance when this government came into office in July 2021. 6 years ago, our country was in a dire state with unemployment growing and an economy in decline. COVID did not help, but our problems as a nation predate the pandemic. This year, 2024-2025, the St. Lucian economy has performed remarkably. Unemployment is below the double digits and the lowest in living memory. The tourism industry has enjoyed its best year. Direct investment is on the rise. Consumer confidence is up, and the country's fiscal position is solid, allowing the government with the fiscal space to provide unprecedented support to vulnerable groups and individuals. Our country is in a much better place than it was during the last administration's tenure.
On the other hand, and in a rare parliamentary development, the opposition was granted extended time for scrutiny. Opposition members debated the historic estimates over multiple days, signaling heightened engagement with fiscal oversight.
The only record that this budget is achieving is the taxes. So if we look back from 2019, there's been an increase of almost $300 million in tax revenue that have come primarily from three sources. One is the excise tax, which is primarily driven by the gas prices, which are at a record high, by the 2.5% levy, and also taxation on income and corporate taxes. That money has come from the pockets of the people of this country. This government has proven once again that the only thing they know how to do is to tax people.
Immigration and national identity also emerged as sensitive talking points in the month of March. The Prime Minister had confirmed St. Lucia's readiness to accept nationals deported from the United States, urging the public to reject stigma and recognize that not all deportees are criminals. Legislative reform also extended beyond the national budget as amendments to the National Insurance Corporation Act came into effect, streamlining benefits and improving access for pensioners, workers on sick leave, and bereaved families. March closed with a strong judicial signal in the fight against illegal firearms. A High Court judge sentenced Ad Odsaman to 8 years in prison on multiple firearm charges, marking a significant milestone in the national crackdown on gun crime. You've been watching Hot 7 TV's Year in Focus Part 1. I am your presenter, Daniela Edwin. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the second half of Year in Focus Part 1, presented by Jasmine Duncan.
Just tap it, baby, POS, I'll be shopping to the perfect view. Big dreams are waiting for you. Groceries, fine dining, wherever you go. From coffee breaks to checkout lanes, gas stations, aeroplanes. BOSL makes it easy, let's go. Tap it, live it, BOSL Visa, yeah. Live your life your way, anytime, anywhere.
Tap into your life anywhere, anytime with your BOSL Visa credit card.
Spend your life living BOSL's got you. Live your life your way. It's your life, it's what you do.
Hey, Amelia, you knew that Wasco's account numbers are no longer alphanumeric? Yes, girl, so long that change and I ain't even checked that. I was going on their new website to check my bill balance and realized my account number has no letters. Yes, it's digits only. So my old account number was 01C047. The C is for Charles, which is the first letter in my last name. So now my new account number is 0103047. The 03 replaces the C, which is the third letter in the alphabet. Yeah, so Wasco account numbers are now 7 digits instead of 6 characters. Yes, girl, it's easy to change. What's your old account number? 01E076. So the E for the ATN is now replaced by 05, the 5th letter in the alphabet. So your new account number is now 0105076. Now we need to update the Wasco account number on their billing portal, our online banking, and remember to change it when we go to ShopePay too.
Remember, Wasco account numbers are now digits only. Haven't updated your Wasco account yet? Log on to wascostlucia.com. Enter your digits only account number, check your bill balances, and make payments through your online banking portal.
Now you can take Hot FM, Kiss FM, and Hot 7 TV with you wherever you go. Whether you're in St. Lucia or exploring our 4 corners of the globe. Our record-breaking app has already been downloaded over 500,000 times on Google Play and the Apple App Store. To bring you the best in HD sound, we've relaunched a brand new app. Get it for free in the App Store by simply searching Caribbean Hot FM HD. Listen to us in real time, anywhere, any place, anytime. We've added so many cool new features, like our live in-studio option, where you can see your favorite announcers and DJs at work. So download the app today. It's free. Spread the news. St. Lucia is now in HD around the world on the Hot FM app. Don't miss out. Join the fun and stay connected.
Tous les jours, femme set nisi ka bay tout sa yo pe pou fami yo, komin yo, epi pou achieve wèv yo. Magwe sa, kanser tete ka demande trop la vie. Actuellement, set nisi ka fè l'histoire. Pour première fois à pays ya, nou ni teknoloji ki biye modern. Pour examiner tete, sa vle di 3D mammography. Bank Mondial pou tire nou epi kado sa la, passeport programme secteur sorti. Se machine sa la se yogo démarche ki ka pousse d'ouvre bonne sorti pour tout moun. Epi service sa la se pou rien. Sa se Universal Health Coverage. Femme ka wat l'année di l'âge epi sa ki pli gros, epi sa ki pli jeune. Si yo a grand danger, sa jwen service sa la ki ka sauver la vie. Place pour sortir comme nous, ça veut dire Wellness Center, c'est premier pas. Visitez place sortir comme nous pour yo renvoyer. Identifier bonnet et sauver la vie. Examination mammogramme pas qu'à écouter ou dessous. Sortir pour tout le monde.
Looking for the best way to advertise? Stop searching. Hot 7 TV gives you more reach, more impact, and more value. Get your business in front of the right audience and watch your sales soar. Don't miss out. Call 452-6040 today and take advantage of our exclusive advertising packages. Hot 7 TV, smart advertising for smart businesses.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News.
Good evening. Welcome back to our special edition of the Hot 7 TV Nightly News, Our Year in Focus, Part 1. I am Jasmine Duncan. We continue with the month of April, which opened with developments in long-running criminal matters, underscoring how acts of violence often continue to echo months after the headlines fade. Attempted murder charges against Vaughn Mark and Kendall Sassion were formally upgraded to murder following the death of 62-year-old Renan Labadie, who succumbed to injuries sustained during a brutal chopping incident in Industrie Choiseul. Labadie passed away on February 21st, nearly 3 weeks after the January 31st attack, prompting police to refile charges on March 26. Both men were later remanded to the Bordelais Correctional Facility as the case advanced through the courts. April's crime blotter continued to grow with yet another young life claimed by gun violence, reinforcing public anxiety over community safety. Multiple gunshot wounds to the torso have claimed the life of 31-year-old Cade Jean-Baptiste, alias Cape, of Delagon Jacmel. His death at the time took the island's toll to 14 on Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025 at Cooleytown, Marigot. Efforts to strengthen national security capabilities resumed with renewed international support. St. Lucia's K9 unit welcomed a new K9 officer donated by the French government, reinforcing crime fighting and contraband detection efforts.
On Monday, April 7, 2025, the Royal St. Lucia Police Force welcomed a second K9 into its ranks. This K9 from the French government will now join Tyson, the first member of the unit, which was received by the RSLPF in July of 2024. With the recovery of firearms and contraband at the top of the force's priority list, head of the Gang Narcotics and Firearms Unit, Siobhan Matthews, says this addition will strengthen the force's operational capability.
This dog will serve not only the RSLPF, but will also be a vital asset to our customs, marine unit, and other arms of law enforcement throughout the island of St. Lucia. It will bolster our efforts in intercepting the trafficking of illegal firearms and narcotics, two of the most serious threats to our national security. We know all too well the devastating effects that gun and drug-related crimes have on our society. These crimes rob families of loved ones, fuel gang violence, strain our healthcare and our justice systems, and ultimately destabilize the economy and social fabric of our nation. Our communities live in fear, and our youth are often the ones most affected. With the K9, we are not just acquiring a dog, we are gaining a partner in the fight against transnational crime.
Political accountability once again dominated headlines as allegations surrounding public financing were addressed. Youth and Sports Minister Kenson Kazemi responded to claims of mismanagement involving an $80 million National Lotteries Authority loan guarantee, outlining projects funded under the initiative.
When I came from university, this little black boy didn't go and buy an Audi or go and buy an expensive car. At that time when others will invest in those sort of things, I, as a little black boy, was very conservative with how I spent my money. This little black boy. So for anybody to come and say that I was not in a position to invest in a small piece of land, and it's not capital, it's Bellevue. Yes. It means that at the end of the day, that person is just being malicious.
Yes.
That's one reason.
Yes.
Or the individual speaking knows exactly how they came across their level of success and financial income to get their properties. And they believe that the only way you can do it is if you did it the way they did it. At the end of the day, you think three banks would let a company, a government, or an individual take $80 million and then just transfer $20 million to himself? I mean, this is ludicrous. This is what you call pure propaganda, which has no basis, which makes no sense, and I have just avoided. It is so ridiculous and asinine that I've just stayed away from responding to it because it makes no sense.
That was until Friday, April 11th, during a live interview on Andre Paul's Rev Up, where Sports Minister Kenson Kazemi responded to critiques and allegations that he had pocketed millions of dollars from the $80 million National Lotteries Authority sports loan taken out by the government of St. Lucia in March of 2024.
The claims leveled against him speculated that the sports minister had used the funds to acquire property and personal articles, significantly increasing his wealth in a short period of time. The opposition's leader, Alan Shastney, had also expressed concerns about the spending of those funds.
Bebe, who's a young man, says he's the Minister of Sports, took a loan for $80 million. We have no idea what he spent the money on. We only know who got the contracts. And that loan is costing the NLA $800,000 a month. That is money that was supposed to pay for scholarships. That is money that's supposed to pay for the clubs to go and travel overseas. That is money to be able to pay for school sports. That money has been robbed from the young people of this country.
Meanwhile, the then sports minister shifted his focus to a long-awaited sports development. After more than a decade, Mindu Phillip Park was outfitted with LED lighting, marking a major upgrade to the historic sporting facility.
It gives me great pleasure to be here at the Mecca of sports development in St. Lucia. For over 15 years, we've not had lights at the Mindu Phillip Park. And tonight, if you look closely, you will see what passed off as lights for football and cricket at the Mindu Phillip Park. And you will see what this government of St. Lucia is giving to the people of St. Lucia right now.
April also brought about structural adjustments to the Citizenship by Investment program. The government of St. Lucia formally terminated its contract with Caribbean Galaxy, stating that the company did not adhere to the rules of the recently established Memorandum of Understanding among CIP OECS nations. The Caribbean Galaxy real estate matter has generated considerable controversy, leading to intense scrutiny of St. Lucia's Citizenship by Investment program. The opposition United Workers' Party and Philip Martinez of MSR Media had also alleged fraudulent activities.
Once the MOA came into effect, we had to make sure, because, and again, I don't know if you recall, when I was asked by the media why we were not signing, I said that we had asked for a grandfathering of the existing agreements we had, and it was not granted. Eventually we signed, because we had to sign as one of the countries, and then we've been trying to renegotiate. So rather than get the grandfathering, which we did not get, we have to renegotiate it with them. We were hoping we could have had a discussion with them and sort out some of the issues. Cabinet has also agreed to relook at the CIP. So once we decided to relook at the CIP, the best course of action was to terminate it.
Economic relief and social policy dominated the latter part of the month as Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre presented a people-centered 2025-2026 budget.
I can stand here today with confidence and say that St. Lucia is ready for whatever may come its way. What I know with absolute certainty is that we have been able to pay our bills. We have been able to pay public servant salaries, given civil servants salary increases, back pay and bonuses, improve the life of our pensioners, and given our young people confidence through the youth economy, while creating for the MSME program an environment for small entrepreneurs to grow their business.
The latest national budget introduces a range of relief-focused measures with no new taxes, contrary to what the opposition believes will be required to fund this budget. Key initiatives include full August salaries for temporary teachers, $250,000 for feminine hygiene support in schools, and an expanded tuition aid for nursing students at SALCC, up to full coverage in the final year. Preschool support has been boosted, and the government will now fund 2 additional CXC subjects per student. A tax amnesty program has been extended to May 2026. Over 1,900 government workers will gain permanent status after 2 years, while pension reforms include tax-free pensions, income from January 2025, and a $600 one-time payment and NIC pension increase tied to the cost of living. Public officers like police and firemen will now qualify for NIC pensions. travelers will enjoy a 50% cut in airport service charges mid-2025, and the personal income tax allowance will raise to $40,000 next year. VAT will be removed from selected food items starting July 2026. Finally, businesses investing in digital tools and training can claim up to $50,000 in tax-deductible expenses.
Political debate intensified as the opposition dissected the national budget. Opposition leader Alan Chastanet warned citizens to scrutinize the Prime Minister's promises, arguing they carry deeper implications.
The disco lights that were displayed in the Prime Minister's speech of all kinds of things is more of an admission that his programs were not working. We're paying twice the price for bread. We're paying more for electricity. Bus fares have gone up. We're paying more for daily products than we ever have. It's been the highest ever. Meanwhile, have our services improved? Has the quality of healthcare improved? So the Medical and Dental Association said it was the worst it's ever been. What the government should have done is adjusted the tariffs, the duties, to lower them. Because the government would have earned the same amount of money. They didn't. They were greedy. And they've extracted over $300 million in comparison to 2019. St. Lucians are paying $300 million more in taxes. It's coming from people's pockets. Meanwhile, the cost of living has gone up. And the most important issue is that wages have stayed the same. Their whole emphasis of growing the economy has been on taxes.
The bottom line for the opposition leader is that the budget presentation is merely a summary of what the government has done and will do, lacking the necessary data to back what is being said.
The month ended as it began, with loss. A homicide in Marigot claimed the life of a young man in his 20s as his family struggled to come to terms with his death.
A pool of blood at the entrance of a business establishment in Marigot marks the spot where 24-year-old Justin Raphael of Jacmel lost his life on Sunday, April 27th, about 9:30 p.m. Initial inquiries revealed the presence of gunshot wounds about his body. The victim was subsequently pronounced dead on the scene by a medical practitioner and, according to his sister, was killed unjustly.
He went to the cemetery, they finished building the tomb. Yeah, that's what they were doing yesterday. And then he got a call from my cousin. My cousin told him to meet him, to go to Marigot, and then he went. I think on the way back home, he probably looked at them, and then that happened. That brother of mine, he wasn't involved in anything. To be honest, he was to himself, going to work, doing his thing. I believe they just targeted him. That is what happened. They targeted him, probably because of what happened the first time. But he wasn't involved in anything. So I'd like to get a little justice. I'd like to get justice.
Describing the person he was, she says the family is struggling to come to terms with his death, given that earlier this month she also lost another brother, one Cade Jean-Baptiste, to gun violence in Cooley Town. By her account, Raphael, who sold eggs and was completing an electrical course, was making significant strides in life, making his death even more heartbreaking.
May opened with one of the deadliest acts of violence recorded for the year, shattering a quiet Castries community. The hillside neighborhood of Chopin was thrust into mourning after a brazen gun attack by masked assailants claimed 3 lives and left another individual critically injured.
Initial reports identified the deceased as Jesse Charles, 28, and Sylvester Bernard, 36, both residents of Chopin Castries. The 2 other victims were rushed to the nearby medical facility, where one later confirmed to be 45-year-old Imon Charles, also of Chopin, succumbed to his injuries. The 4th victim remains in critical condition.
As police investigations continued, national focus also turned to major development projects tied up in the courts. Tourism Minister Dr. Ernest Hilaire confirmed that negotiations with Galaxy remained ongoing despite legal challenges that delayed elements of the country's infrastructure development program. These negotiations unfolded amid renewed political accusations surrounding the Citizenship by Investment program. The opposition then accused the Labour Party administration of mismanagement and secrecy in the handling of the CIP, claims the government strongly rejected.
The information that we were obtaining as the leader of the opposition and as the opposition party from reliable sources told us all that something was horribly wrong. Despite our attempts on multiple occasions, the government refused to answer the questions. I think probably the most infamous response was by the Minister of CIP himself when he was asked how many files, how many shares, how many passports were allocated to Galaxy and to BMAX. And he said he would have to speak to Galaxy to get approval from Galaxy to reveal that information.
Against the mounting criticism, the Prime Minister moved to reassure both citizens and international partners that St. Lucia's Citizenship by Investment program remains credible and compliant.
The Trump program, the Trump card, they call it, $5 million in the gold card. So the US understands. In fact, the US have been working with us. If you recall, there was a meeting held sometime last year that I attended where the US gave us, and you know, that history is something that we mustn't forget. The US gave us 6 points that we should follow. We've done all of them, and then the US actually have not raised any questions about the program.
Financial crime soon dominated headlines following a major enforcement breakthrough. Authorities dismantled what it believed to be one of the island's largest pyramid schemes, arresting several individuals linked to the Collapse Creators Alliance operation. As investigations continued, the human cost of the scheme came into sharp focus. One affected participant shared her experience, hoping her story would serve as a warning to others about unregulated investment schemes.
So October last year, a friend invited me. I thought it was fishy at first, but I told her if she got her money, then I would be interested. So I did indeed see that she got her money. So I became more interested, and at that time, I was working, and I'm still working. So investing or risking $800 didn't matter to me as much, because I felt as if I lost it, it wouldn't have a significant impact on my life. My thoughts on it now, I would say, even throughout the process, I knew it was a scam, a Ponzi scheme. I mean, we've heard about these things so much already, but I guess since that one lasted so long, from May last year until, it crashed March this year. So for so long, I guess more people had more faith in it, but I always knew it was a scam. So I was already prepared for that kind of result.
Members of the public are once again being urged to exercise caution and refrain from engaging in unregulated or potentially fraudulent investment ventures, particularly those resembling pyramid or so-called Ponzi schemes.
Public anxiety also spread over an unusual and unsettling allegation. Claims that coconuts were being injected with substances prompted concern among consumers and vendors, drawing a response from agricultural authorities. Meanwhile, another coconut-related controversy kept social media buzzing. A vendor moved to clear his name after a video showing him loading a cooler in suspicious circumstances sparked widespread speculation.
The issue, however, is that he has been accused of adding pipe water to the bottles and drinking from one of them. Whilst the video does not show what exactly he did in entirety, the court of public opinion has judged him guilty. The seller, however, has since made 2 separate videos in attempts to clear his name, calling the recording an attack on his livelihood.
You have enemies everywhere, right? Every day trying and up your reputation. You understand? That is how it is. Everybody have to watch, keep their head up, because everybody have their phone recording all kind of nonsense. You're recording somebody, right? Trying to get the person in a slackness. Well, watch the video. All the coconut water that's by the cooler is capped. Okay? The bottle I was drinking from is my personal bottle, because I'll not sell all my coconut water and don't have one there for myself. Obviously, I will not sell it because it is not filled. people will not purchase a bottle of coconut water if it's not sealed. You understand? So the person that was trying to get me in a slackness there, I don't know what part of the video that they see anything disgusting was happening there.
May also marked the close of a historic political chapter. Former Prime Minister and Vieux-Fort South MP Dr. Kennedy Anthony formally announced his retirement from elective politics, ending decades of public service. Reaction to his announcement was swift and mixed. Observers and commentators speculated on the reasons behind Dr. Anthony's departure, fueling debate across the political landscape.
Kenny Anthony obviously thought this out, calculated this on who he wanted around him, who he did not want.
On that note, his absence from cabinet meetings for almost 3 years, when he was meant to be out for only 6 months on medical leave, was also questioned. Locals expressed disapproval that no updates were provided by the party as to why he never returned to cabinet but attended Parliament.
While there were records, there are a lot of tapes of him about what he would do in what circumstances and so on. This is on there, on tape, and repeated over and over. But he never, in 2021, having come back to office, he himself never stated, never validated either what the Prime Minister said, that he was taking 6 months off, that he was holding his cabinet place for him, that he was going to take care of some health and business issues, and so on. And in all that time, 4 years, almost 5 years, he has never given an official reason, and he did not give one tonight either, did he?
Callers further dissected statements made by Dr. Anthony, which has caused the speculations about the true reason for his exit.
But he also made some other strong statements about, I think he repeated twice that he knows, and that is something from a previous House meeting, that he knows what's being said about him. You never know who you're sitting with. You never know who's listening when you're sitting in the restaurant. You remember that?
Yes.
A few months ago in the House. So somebody or some people must have said something that really got under Kenny Anthony's skin. And so he was power jetting into the House, and he did it again tonight. He said, I know who you are, and you know who you are. And some of you might regret my going away, but some will be happy to see my back.
The nation's homicide count continued to climb. A young man was fatally shot in Bocage, pushing the island's murder tally to 23 and deepening concerns over violent crime. The shooting occurred on the evening of May 25th, claiming the life of 35-year-old Wayne Mathre. According to official reports, Mathre sustained multiple gunshot wounds and was subsequently transported to the Owen King European Hospital, where he later succumbed to his injuries. In Grosley, grief turned into calls for unity. Following the fatal shooting of 26-year-old Rakeem Joseph, MP Kenson Kazmi urged peace and solidarity amid growing political tension.
I just continue to encourage young people to take advantage of the many programs, the many interventions that we as a government have put in place, interventions that were never in existence before, and find a different way of dealing with conflict, dealing with other individuals in the community that you may run into problems with. We continue to encourage that.
May concluded with a story of renewal and opportunity. The Soufriere Innovation and Career Development Center officially reopened after major renovations, positioning it as a hub for skills training and community advancement. June began with tragedy on the nation's roads, underscoring persistent concerns over public safety. A young man lost his life following a vehicular collision in Choiseul, marking the sole road fatality recorded during a weekend otherwise marked by numerous traffic incidents. From road safety, attention quickly shifted to rising public concern over living costs, for which the government moved to deliver a key budget commitment. Commerce Minister Emma Hippolyte announced the removal of 6% service charge on select food items, signaling immediate relief for consumers.
One of the promises that was made by the Honorable Prime Minister, Minister for Finance, during the last budget debate was the removal of the 6% service charge on price control items, and that had to come into effect on the 1st of June. So I'm just telling you that we have a statutory instrument, and this is issued by the Ministry of Finance, but we have a statutory instrument now to inform you that this is a promise that was made, and that promise is now kept.
Economic relief extended beyond food prices to the cost of regional travel. Government announced a 50% reduction in airport service charges for regional flights, a temporary measure aimed at boosting intra-Caribbean mobility and economic activity. While easing costs for travelers, St. Lucia also strengthens its international brand. For a second consecutive year, the island partnered with the New York Yankees, amplifying its global marketing reach through sport.
This week we're in Manhattan, in New York, where we are part of the CTO Week. A big one for St. Lucia is that we'll be reestablishing our relationship with the New York Yankees. We have launched a new campaign. It's a visibility campaign held at the stadium with the theme Catch a View of a Lifetime. The view of the beauties of St. Lucia, our lush green, our mountains, our pitons, our rivers, and everything that we have to offer. So part of that campaign is that we are having an activation tonight in stadium where the New York Yankees will be facing the Cleveland Guardians. So St. Lucia will be on full stage. We'll be having the visibility of our destination within the parameters of the stadium, showcasing what St. Lucia has to offer.
Back home, major investments in sport infrastructure took visible shape. Construction advanced at the new Aquatic Center with steelwork laid on a facility which is set to anchor St. Lucia's hosting of the 2027 Carifta Swimming Championships. Crime soon returned to the forefront following a grim discovery in the capital. Police launched an investigation after the body of a man was found near the Sans Souci Bridge, with authorities keeping all possibilities open as forensic examinations continued. June also brought sudden loss in Grosley. Emergency responders discovered an unresponsive man on Chapel Street with preliminary assessments indicating a fatal throat injury. Violence again struck urban communities days later. A stabbing and shooting incident in Marshall left one man hospitalized and another dead, prompting a full-scale police investigation into whether the attacks were connected. As crime unsettled communities, economic pressures weighed heavily on households. Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre addressed a rise in food prices, attributing increases to global market forces while outlining measures aimed at cushioning consumers. Consumers received further assurances from the Prime Minister, who signaled that supermarket prices were expected to decline, pointing to upcoming tax reforms and regional trade adjustments.
Even if we do not get the derogation, the fact that the government has removed service charge on these price control goods, the price ought to go down. The cost to the consumer ought to go down. The price to the consumer ought to go down. And in terms of standard rated goods, where we remove the VAT, the price ought to go down also. So my message to you is the price of food in the supermarket of all goods where VAT was being paid before will go down by 12.5%, even if the cost increases from outside.
Government at this stage further confirmed the plans to debate the removal of VAT on up to 70 basic food items, building on earlier cost reduction measures. On the environmental front, attention turned to protecting the agricultural sector ahead of the hurricane season. The government announced that it had secured funding for a long-awaited agricultural insurance policy designed to shield farmers from climate-related shocks. But even as economic optimism emerged, violence persisted. Less than a day after the Marshall killing, another homicide was reported in Black Bay Vieux Fort.
Law enforcement authorities have launched an active investigation following the gruesome discovery of a body in the Black Bay area of Vieux Fort on Tuesday, June 10th. According to a report from the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, officers attached to the Criminal Investigations Department in Vieux Fort responded to a report of a suspected homicide around 4:30 p.m. Upon arrival at the Mangrove in Black Bay, police discovered the lifeless body of a man who was found bound and gagged, bearing what appeared to be a slash wound to the neck. The victim was pronounced dead on the scene by a medical practitioner. He has since been identified as 39-year-old Darby Etienne, a resident of Larry Shoes of Vieux Fort.
To date, no further updates were provided. Community development, however, offered a contrasting note of progress. For the first time, a Grosley playing field was illuminated at night, opening safer and more accessible opportunities for sports and youth engagement. Political tensions resurfaced over relocation plans in Castries Central. UWP candidate Roche Clark criticized the government's handling of the Banans Bay relocation, arguing it threatened livelihoods and community stability.
These promises have been reduced to conditional cash payouts. What's good for the goose should be good for the gander. What's good for one St. Lucian should be good for the rest. Why not keep that same energy? Where is that same energy for the people in Banans Bay? Where is that same respect for the people in Banans Bay? That community has been home to hard-working fishermen for over 30 years. That community has been home to vendors that support their families for over 30 years. Are we forgetting the words of the Prime Minister? And yet, we listen and we accept a government telling us that negotiations are suddenly confidential.
June also delivered a landmark diplomatic moment. Nigeria's president made history by addressing St. Lucia's parliament, marking a rare and symbolic strengthening of bilateral ties. Nigeria's engagement with St. Lucia and the OECS opened doors to new scholarship opportunities, signaling deeper educational and cultural cooperation. But as diplomacy unfolded, violence surged again. Gun violence erupted in several areas. A stabbing and shooting in Marshall left 2 men dead, including 29-year-old Denver Felix. Later in the month, 3 separate incidents claimed the lives of Jimmy Charleston Tomazo, Darnell Charleston Morshi, and 18-year-old Anthony Coxon Soufre. From deadly acts of violence and heartbreaking losses to major budget decisions, legislative reforms, and investment in development, the first half of the year revealed both the challenges confronting the nation and the steps being taken to address them. Tomorrow, January 2nd, we take you through the months of July to December, a period shaped by intensified crime-fighting efforts, major policy shifts, political developments, and stories of perseverance that continue to define the national journey. On behalf of the news team, I am Jasmine Duncan. Thank you for tuning in, and do have yourself a good night.
St. Lucia, you asked for it, and it's finally here.